Except North Carolina, you can see he has his Kensington Tux working here tonight. Put your hands together for Pat Kelly.
Or not, I really. No pressure. How's everybody doing tonight? Awesome. You guys seem like a very nice crowd. I was just chatting with some of you. Low-key, a little more low-key than I'm used to, and actually skewing a little bit older than I'm used to as well. I actually have a regular gig on the weekends as opening act for the animatronic jug band over at Chuck E. Cheese. You ever seen these guys? You kids mean to tell me you never been to a mozzarella jamboree? Hit it, boys! They blink and shit. I love those guys, man. They're awesome. They scored great coke, too, incidentally. I don't know if you know that. Backstage at Chuck E. Cheese is off the chain, let me tell you. I like to party as much as the next guy, but I can't hang with these guys. Backstage, they're all like, you kids mean to tell me you never freebase cocaine? Hit it, boys! Love those guys. I love playing, I love performing with musicians. It's kind of cool. I really love music. I always wanted to be a musician, have no musical talent whatsoever, so I got the funny bug, I guess. But I love music. I love the way you hear a song and it brings back like a special memory for you. You know, like every time I hear that song "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal, if you guys know that song, always reminds me of the first time I kissed my wife. You know, it's like a real nice memory for me. Every time I hear Elvis Presley, "Burning Love," you know, it reminds me of the first time I paid for sex in Mexico.
I got it.
Thank you, thank you. Footloose, I love that song, Footloose. I don't care so much for the new remake. I like the original Kenny Loggins version of Footloose. I think I love the song Footloose so much because it reminds me of my cousin Carl, who had a mild case of leprosy. That's not funny, it's a tragedy. You can't wear flip-flops. It's horrible, horrible. So tell you guys a little bit about myself. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. Came kind of a working class family. A lot of people probably referred to us as blue collar. Personally, I never cared for the term blue collar. Had kind of has a negative connotation, I think. You know, it kind of sounds like something priests say to each other when they're joking around about the kid who wouldn't put out. Little rapscallion gave me the worst case of blue collar I ever had. Personally, I always was more partial to lower middle class. It sounds much nicer, I think. Hey, don't worry about it. You're lower middle class. You're just like most people, except not as good. So I had that going for me. One thing about growing up without a lot of money, I actually went to Catholic school growing up, but I was like the poor kid at Catholic school. You know, my parents had to put like a second mortgage on our shitty row home to send me to Catholic school. So I felt like sometimes I didn't fit in with some of the other kids who had more money, you know, kind of nicer lifestyles. You know, Mondays they'd all come into school talking about how they spent Sunday afternoon at the parks with their dad. You know, I spent Sunday at the bar with mine. Which was cool. I still like hanging out at bars, but it's when you go and mingle with the other kids, you realize that you don't quite fit in, you know. They all had their Happy Meals, hamburger, French fries. I'm standing there with beef jerky and a pickled egg. My surprise toy was a dart. You know, other kids had their G.I. Joes. I'm hanging out with an empty bottle of Captain Morgan, trying to make something happen. Never had any good toys growing up. Closest thing I had to a Transformer was the lady who used to stand up and pee in the men's room. That's right, Aunt Roger. She was a sweetheart, Aunt Roger. Another thing about growing up without a lot of money, Halloween kind of wasn't as fun for me as it was probably for some other kids. Growing up in a row home was cool because you could like hit a lot of houses in a little bit of time. But the only thing was you always got shitty candy because everybody else in the neighborhood was poor too. You know, so it was always like, it looked like the real thing when they were putting it in your bag, you know, in the dark and stuff, and you got the mask on. But then you go home and you start going through your bag and you realize you just got the cheap knockoff candy. I'd be like, wait a second, this isn't a Three Musketeers bar. Read the label, 3 flamboyantly dressed swordsmen. Instead of Jolly Ranchers, we'd get Jolly Cape Cods. No realtors here, fine. Fine. I was always a big fan of the Milky Way. But what? King-size Milky Way? What? Lactating areola?
I got it.
He's getting them over here. Thank you. Thanks someone. Me and you. It's me and you, man. Yeah, Halloween was tough for me too. Looking for costumes too. Not very limited selection in the Sears Husky department. You know, I could never really be what I was always limited. I could never be what I really wanted to be for Halloween. Except once when I was 12, I was really excited. I got the ninja costume. You know, every 12-year-old kid, boy, wants to be a ninja. I was so excited. I'm like, oh man, I got the ninja costume. It fits. Well, it kind of fits. A little snug, but you know, it'll do. Got all excited, went up to that first house, and of course the first house I go to is that lady in the neighborhood who always wants to guess what you are for Halloween. Oh, don't tell me, let me guess. You know, I'm all ninja'd up, walk up, you know, waddle up to the door. Lady thought I was a fucking tick. She pulled the candy bowl away and gave me an apple instead. That was the worst when you got an apple for Halloween too, wasn't it? They always went right back through the bay window. At least in my neighborhood. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, Halloween was stuff. You guys following the Penn State case? I guess you can't help but follow that. I'm actually a Penn State alumni, so I've been following it closely. I think the biggest tragedy in this whole thing is that this is apparently, I guess this is going to be the end of Sandusky's annual two-hand touch tournament. And now they're losing games, of course. I guess they're just going to keep going down in the rankings. Although there are some rankings that are actually going up, and I don't know if you guys heard this. Penn State just recently named by the Travel Channel as the #2 worst place to take a shower. Right behind Auschwitz. Oh. Hey fellas, how are you? You guys comedians? All right, I gotta keep stalling that. Come on through. I was thinking about recently, there's a lot of odd marketing choices out there. I was actually thinking about this when I was walking through the mall the other day, walked past the Athlete's Foot, right? Shoe store named after a foot disease. It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of like Victoria's Secret calling themselves yeast infections. Last time I checked, Babies R Us certainly not calling themselves SIDS, right? All I'm saying, hey, I'm just saying, no one's gonna buy a crib from a place called SIDS, right? Yeah, maybe if it's unless it's an old Jewish carpenter. Grew up Catholic. You know, speaking of Jewish people, one thing about growing up Catholic, going to Catholic school, I felt like I missed out on. Never invited to a bar mitzvah. Anybody here ever actually been to a bar mitzvah? Show of hands.
I've had a bar mitzvah.
Oh, you had one? Did you give out the free T-shirts? That was the thing that I really was bummed out about. At the bar mitzvahs, they give out the free T-shirts. You know, like I had a ball at Matthew's bar mitzvah. Or I had like a picture of a baseball on it. I always thought that was cool, and I was like, man, I wonder if they have T-shirts for their other religious ceremonies. You know, like I had a bloody good time at Saul's Bris. And growing up Catholic, I was like, man, I got to come up with some good T-shirt ideas. You know, I think that would make the Catholic religion a little bit more exciting if they had T-shirts. You know, so I wrote a letter to the Pope, who at the time was, of course, Pope John Paul II, the cool Pope. Yeah, I don't know about this new guy so much. Something a little weird about this new guy, but Pope John Paul II, or as I used to call him, PJP Deuce. And I was like, hey PJP, how about some sacrament T-shirts? You know, I gave him some suggestions. You know, I made a splash at Michael's baptism. Or my grandma received last rites and all I got was this stupid T-shirt. That's a good one for the kids because it's a cute T-shirt and a constant reminder of their own mortality. So that's good. So we have some other Catholics out here, I guess, here at the Irish Place. Catholics, round of applause. All right, who goes to church every Sunday? Oh, that's every time. That's one of the best things about being Catholic. There's apparently no real pressure to attend Mass. And it seems as the years go on, it's like less and less pressure. It's kind of the lazy man's religion. You know, and it's gotten so lazy. I don't know if you guys know this, they actually have televised Mass on like the Catholic channel. People only have to leave their house. You guys ever watch that, the Catholic Network? They got that one-eyed nun on there. Yeah, right after Sister Cyclops on Sundays, they have televised Mass. And I'm thinking to myself, how lazy do you have to be, right? Mass on TV. What's next? Communion delivered to your house? Yeah, can I get an extra large body of Christ, 2 liter of Christ blood, and 25 buffalo wings? Does that come with blue cheese? Great, praise be to God. You know. Praise be to God. What else is on my little notes? I'll wrap this up shortly, guys. This is kind of interesting. I'm kind of excited about this whole Justin Bieber might be a dad. Apparently, this girl's claiming she's having his baby. I so hope she's having his baby. I would just add, a lot of street cred to Justin Bieber, kind of give him like a little bit of a rock and roll edge. I just love the fact that Justin Bieber has groupies. I don't know if you guys know this, Bieber fever is apparently sweeping the nation. I don't know if you know this, but Bieber fever is actually Bieber's groupies' code name for syphilis. Alright, that's a new one. People love Justin Bieber, I can't talk shit about him. Joe Pa, Penn State, fuck him, but Justin Bieber, you can't go there. Alright, I'll finish up on this, guys. Hard to believe, isn't it, that it was 10 years ago that the whole 9/11 tragedy happened. I know this year they had the anniversary and they got the new memorial where everybody can kind of, sit and reflect on what happened. And I think it's nice and all, but I'm a little disappointed that they didn't use my idea. I actually submitted an essay 10 years ago for my idea on what they should put on the site where the World Trade Center stood. And my idea was that we should just build like a big fuck you to the Al-Qaeda, fuck you, man, we're Americans, we like to party, this whole big edifice to, like American decadence, and just put up like the world's biggest dance club, You already got, seriously, think about it, you already got the cool name, right, Ground Zero, can run some drink specials. Every night at Ground Zero, $1 kamikazes from 9 to 11. Thank you, I'm Pat Kelly.